All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rachak Wadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well, and also honors and salutation to those of you who are of the hopeful elect and are out there teaching the word in sincerity and truth. All right, so want to do another installment of this series I've been doing. Oh shit, not Siri. My phone. I said series and she oh shit. Salagi. So on this the show I've been doing, which is scriptures that Christians overlook. And I like it because, when you read the scriptures, there's, a lot of specific uh, verbiage and wording that's used when you read the scriptures, right? And if you take the time to understand that verbiage, right, and look into that verbiage and look into what the scriptures are saying, then the Israelite foreigner thing, or that the idea of only Israel being saved won't be such a difficult thing to understand, because you're looking into it. And again, and as I've said before, and I'm going to keep saying as I do this series, the scriptures are only written for and about the children of Israel, and that's it, man. That's it. So today's scripture that I got, and Lord's will through the Spirit, it'll lead me to some other scriptures. I believe it will. I got this one and another one that I got written down, and like I said, hopefully it'll lead me into a couple other ones, right? So again, this is Acts 11 and 20, and I'm gonna read into the 21st verse, look into some of these words that are here, and we'll do it like that. All right. So this is Acts 11 and 20. It says, "And some of them were men of Cyprus and Cyrene, which when they were come to Antioch, spake unto the Grecians, preaching the Lord Yahushai." Um, I, I've skipped the verse. I'm going to start at 19. It says, "Now they which were scattered abroad upon the persecution that arose about Stephen traveled as far as Phoenice and Cyprus and Antioch, preaching the word to none but unto the Jews only." Right? Matter of fact, I meant to look up something real quick. So what's important to note about that statement, right, is that the apostles, um at this time, right, this is after the Lord Yahweh Shai had been taken up. This is after he taught his ministry. This is after he's been taken up, and this is after, let me see, I think it's worded open their understanding. This is after their understanding of the scriptures was open, right? Let's see. I think it's John 24. It's either John 24, Luke 24. Boom, Luke 24. So let me go here and go up in there. 24 and 45 says. I'll start at 44. All right, so this is Luke 24 and 44. It says, "And he said unto them, These are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me. Then opened he their understanding, that they might understand the scriptures." Right? So once you get to Acts, the time of Acts, right, the apostles, right, and other men of the Lord understood what the scriptures meant and what was being said in the scriptures, right? So if the Lord's death meant that everybody could be saved, right? If the Lord's death meant that it's now not only to the Jews but also to the other nations, the heathen nations, then why would they go to Phoenice and Cyprus and Antioch in this case and only teach the Jews? Why would they do that? Why would they do that? Right? Because they understand the scriptures. They were there with the Lord. He's passed on now. Right? Did they not understand his ministry? Right? You see? Again, this is one of the things that these Christians, namely vocab alone, right, and his friends, right, that they overlook, man. Okay, so I'm gonna continue on. Verse 20 says, and some of them were men of Cyprus and Cyrene, which, when they were come to Antioch, spake unto the Grecians, preaching the Lord Yahushua. Right? But I thought it said to the Jews only. Right? So let's do this. Let's do this. Right? Maybe I should have done a little more digging, but let's do this. Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Let's see what we get here. Okay. So if you look at number 4 here, you got, you got Phoenicia, right? Which is Phoenice, right? You got Antioch. And what was the other one? Cyprus. Okay. So let's look for that. Cyprus, right? Now, the land of Israel is here, right? Right? But they went to Antioch, Cyprus, Phoenice, right? And as you know, if you as we read on in the book of Acts, let's go to this map here, right? Perga, right? Pamphylia, Phrygia, right? And you know what would be interesting? If it's this Antioch or this one, that'd be interesting. It wouldn't matter, but I mean, if it was up here, it'd be more so-called Greeks, right? But Colossus, right? For the Colossians, right? These are books that were written in the scriptures, right? But it says this, right? You know what? Let's look up that word Grecians and see what we get there. Boom. Hellenistas, right? Which I don't remember what the definition is like in the blue letter, but we'll read it anyway. Right? A Hellenist, one who imitates the manners and customs of the worship of Greeks and uses the Greek tongue, right? Boom. Used in the New Testament of Jews born in foreign lands and speaking Greek. Damn, I didn't know it said that. At one time, I thought I read it in the blue letter and it butchered it. Imagine that, right? So let's go back, right? So now we're starting to get an idea of who this is talking about, right? Same thing when you go to, I think it's John 7 and 35. Matter of fact, let's go to that. John 7 and 35, I think it is. Elder Apostle Ramla brought this out recently, that in the Latin Bible, it says, let's see, it says, then said, that this is John 7 and 35, then said the Jews among themselves, whither will he go? That we shall not find him. Will he go unto the disperse of the Gentiles and teach the Gentiles? Right. So in the Latin Bible, it says, go to the disperse among the Greeks and teach the Greeks. Right. Which that's what our people, namely the Israelites that stayed in the land, were calling the Israelite foreigners, they were calling them Greeks because they were speaking Greek, they were practicing Greek customs, and so forth and so on, right? So let me continue on because there's a word I wanted to show you here. Okay, let's see. All right, so verse 21, it says, "And the hand of the Lord was with them, and a great number believed and turned," right, "unto the Lord." Now let's let me show you this word here. Turn. I want to show you something that I saw. Right. All right. So this is I think it's epistraphal.
Strong's G 1994. Epistraphal.
Right. Which means, right, here's the synonyms: turn, be converted. Right. That's an important word. Return, turn about, and here's the kicker: turn again. You see? So it says transitively, to turn to the worship of the true power, right? It says to cause to return, to bring back. You see? And we always bring this out, right? When you return, that means you have to be there at the first, right? Matter of fact, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, this is return in the online etymology dictionary. To come back. Come or go back to a former position. Mm, 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 mm. From Old French retourner, turn back, turn around, right? Which reminds me of this scripture. It says this is 1 Corinthians 12:2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away, right, unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led, right? So they were taken away, right? And like the scripture is saying here, they were turned back. They returned, right? So let me read some more of this return. Okay. This says transitive sense of report officially is early 15th century, to send back, to turn back, right? So that's what this is saying here, right? It says to the love and obedience of the Most High, right? To turn back to the love and obedience of the Most High. And again, in order to be returned, you would have to been there at the first, which means that what? They were Israelites, man. To love wisdom and righteousness, intransitively, to turn oneself, to turn oneself about, turn back, to return, turn back, come back. Look at this. To revert. All right? Literally, figuratively, or morally, right? Come, go again, convert, right? Boom. So really, when you get these people talking about they converted to Christianity, right? The only way you can convert to Christianity is if you're of the anointed, of the children of Israel, man. Mm, mm. All right. So let's go back to the scripture, right? And that's what it's talking about, man. Again, do they notice? Probably not. Or maybe they do and they just bucking up, man. They being hard headed, you know? Right? Now, that reminded me of this one here. This is one of my go-tos here. Right? So this is Acts 2:5. It says, "And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born?" Right? So as it says in the fifth verse, that they were Jews, right? But where were they? Parthians, Medes, right? And Elamites, dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea and in Cappadocia, Pontus and Asia, Phrygia, Pamphylia, right? Egypt and the parts of Libya, about Cyrene, right? Didn't I say that in Acts the 11th chapter, right? And strangers of Rome, Jews and what? Proselytes, right? So it'd be interesting to see. It's been a long time since I looked this word up here in the scripture. Okay. Okay. A newcomer, a stranger, alien, a proselyte, one who has come over from a Gentile religion to Judaism, right? So of course you have to have some bones in there, right? But here's that word again, convert. You see? Okay. Now the reason why you had them being called converted, because you had those who knew that they were Israelites, right? And you had those who didn't know, right? So let's go to now John 11:52. And matter of fact, I'll start at 49. So it says this: "And one of them, named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahushua should die for that nation, and not only for that, and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the children of the Most High that were scattered abroad." Right? So that reminds me of this one. Okay, this is James 1:1. It says, "James, a servant of the Most High and of the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad." You see? You see? And my thing is, you know how stubborn you gotta be to hear these scriptures, because we always bring these scriptures out when they come to debate us, and not just vocab, but all these Christians that come up. They hear us reading these scriptures, but they just don't want to hear them, man. They just don't want to hear that the scriptures are not for everybody, man, because they've built their whole lives around, being a Christian. I'm not racist, I'm Christian. But in my humble opinion, most so-called white Christians are racist. It's very selfish for you to be looking for salvation from the Lord Yahweh Shai when you've lived in your kingdom this whole time. You're in your kingdom. And for you to be in your kingdom and look for another kingdom to come where you also benefit is some selfish ass shit, man. Which is not Christ like, if you ask me. All right. And there's plenty of scriptures, man. But those are the two I had, and that's what I wanted to go into really quickly. Hopefully that was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rachakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS who rule well. Also honor and salutations to those of you who are of the hopeful elect. And with that, I say shalom.